Bisayo, good evening. Can you hear me,
Is
ma'am?
Olamide is there? He's not saying anything.
I already greeted him. I already greeted him. He spoke at the beginning of the call.
Okay, maybe I didn't hear him. Okay, good evening, Mr. Olumide. How are you? It's okay. Same here.
Good evening,
Okay.
everyone. Sorry for
Good
the
evening.
response.
Good evening, ma'am. Oh, thank you, ma'am. Yes, we can hear you. Good evening, ma'am.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. So let me officially welcome everyone to, I think, our 5th episode here. Yeah, on our theme-based discussions. It's the 5th episode. And I think we've gone through about 5 themes, if I'm correct. We've gone through fixed mindsets, educators. We've gone through emotional intelligence. Does anybody else remember something else we've gone through? Okay, we've gone through cultivating emotional intelligence. We've gone through strategies for engaging distracted learners in the 21st century. And today, Mrs. Bisayo is going to be taking us through another topic, and it's technology centered. So before she comes up, I will briefly read her profile. Bisayo Adewole is a seasoned learning and development expert with 5 years experience across K-12, teacher education, and workplace learning. Her drive for innovative EdTech solutions as a teacher has earned her several awards, certifications, and recognitions such as Microsoft Certified Trainer, Microsoft Certified Educator, Google Certified Educator, Today's Educator by Evolved, Teach with Tech Award by Edufocal, IDEE Teacher Prize, amongst others. As a teacher, she has led several EdTech programs, some of which include creating the virtual language lab to help ESL learners, TikTok as an ESL instructional material, teachers in tech-free community, amongst others. And as an L&D expert, a major work involves creating EdTech solutions to improve performance and achieve business and personal goals. Her leadership powers shine through the several roles and positions she has held. She strongly believes that it is the teacher that makes the difference, not the technology, as the AI tool is only as intelligent as its instructor. In other words, the AI tool cannot be more intelligent than the teacher. I think that's what it means. So please let's make welcome Mrs. Bisayo Adewole. You're welcome,
All
ma'am. You
right.
can have the
Thank
floor.
you. Thank you very much. Uh, did you just raise your hand?
No, I didn't. I think it's Miss
Yeah,
Awolamide raising his hand.
Olamide raised his hand. Okay. All right. So thank you very much. I'll start with the last sentence in that introduction. I believe that the AI tool is only as intelligent as the teacher that's using it. So just like your phone, right? Your phone is only as useful as how much you know or how much function you know that the phone can do and how well you use it. There are many things we can do with our phones, but not everyone um know these things. So they only use what they know. But the phone can do more than that. So the same thing applies to the AI too. It is only as intelligent as the user. If the user only knows how to use it to maybe just generate learning objectives or maybe just create lessons, that's all the AI tool will do for that person. You can't compare it with someone that knows how to use the AI tool for personalization, automation, and things like that. So the actual intelligence actually lies in the user's intelligence. All right, please confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see.
Okay. All right. So, first, I like to call myself a learning and development expert, or a learning experience design expert, and my role revolves a lot around using technology to improve, to enhance learning experiences. And I'll just go straight into the topic: transforming learning and technology in Nigeria through technology, the role of the 21st century educator. Um, this discussion would be in three sections. Okay, the 21st century's educator's role. We're looking at it in three aspects. First, bridging the digital divide. Then, professional growth and classroom innovation, and finally redefining traditional teaching methods. So we're going to start with uh, bridging the digital divide. As a Microsoft certified educator, I went through a program, that exposed me to the 21st century learning design, uh, that provides rubrics that's supposed to guide the educator in using technology. uh if you go through that program, you realize that, or if you study the 21st century learning design now, even if you are not a Microsoft certified educator, if you just search for 21st century learning design rubrics and you go straight to ICT for learning, you would realize that many 21st century educators think that using technology, in the classroom means, or it stops at designing PowerPoint lessons, or using quizzes, scouts, and all of those tools in the classroom. But there is more. The that's doing that just stops at maybe a level 3 or 4, according to these rubrics. If you look at the fifth rubric, you'd see that using technology in the classroom, the highest level of using technology in the classroom is when your learners can produce knowledge using an ICT tool. For instance, you just taught, let's say, maybe narrative essays, right? And you designed PowerPoint slides to teach this topic, and the learners were engaged, they enjoyed it, and all of that. Now it's time for them to also write their own essay. Then you leave the technology and you ask them to write their essays maybe in their exercise book, or even when you tell them to use maybe Microsoft Word or Google Doc and all of that, it just ends there. They are not creating anything new. A 21st century teacher that is integrating technology at the highest level will go further to create an opportunity for these learners to create a digital product, like a blog, like something that can be published, not just something that will end maybe in their exercise book or somewhere in your Google Drive, and nothing more. They don't get to see their work come alive, right? So the highest level of using technology in the classroom as a 21st century educator is when you get to the point where you have taken the learners from using the technology in the classroom to creating new knowledge, constructing knowledge, using a digital product, or to the point where they can create a digital product, when they can come up with it. And a digital product does not have to be an app or a robot. That's why many people think that uh, when it comes to ICT is usually for maybe the ICT teachers or math teachers and all of those people that do robotics. But I tell a lot of English teachers that you even have more opportunity to explore these things, because English is used everywhere. It is the language of instruction, which means that you can apply it in any context. So like this essays that I've given as an example now. Apart from essays, what about poems? What about what else can I use as an example apart from poems? Even grammar, right? You can come up with opportunities for these learners to create digital products or create new knowledge that can be shared, that can be published as their work, so that at the end of the day, when they finish school, they have a portfolio of different things that they have created. They don't just have a certificate or a broadsheet or a report card that has, oh, I had A in English, my teacher was very good. I had C, oh, that teacher was really creative. She used technology in the classroom. That's the highest level. Now, the second way that teachers can carry out this role of integrating technology in the classroom is to design and implement digital learning projects. For example, when I realized that my learners were speaking right in the classroom, in the school, or when they are around me, but when they go home or when they are around their parents, they they just go back like a rubber band. They just go all the way back to what they were doing before. And when I am revisiting what they have learned previously, I realize that it's almost as if they have not even learned anything at all. It was as if we're just rolling round, going round in circles. So what did I do? I created a virtual language lab. I found an application, ICT, ICT for learning. Now, I found an application, uh, Extempor. That application allows me to create different uh, recorded voice assignments that will require my learners to respond only through speaking. That's the only way they can do that assignment. They will only be able to respond by speaking, and they have to speak right. That app allows them to delete when they would listen to what they have said. If it doesn't match what they heard, they can delete it and record over and over again. So imagine a learner sitting down at home where I am not there. Their parents might be there or they might not be there. Imagine a learner sitting down at home doing this over and over again. That beats me sitting down, I mean, in class with them, telling them to repeat or doing these pronunciation drills with them. That beats that, because they are on their own at home, maybe over the weekend or even during the holiday, or even just overnight, enjoying that learning experience using a digital application, using a digital product. So you can come up with digital learning projects like that. It doesn't have to be so big or loud. That will enhance learning, that will promote learning, considering what is available to your learners. What do they have access to? If it is only mobile phones that they have access to, what kind of mobile phones do they have access to? These mobile phones, what can it do? What kind of apps can these mobile phones they have access to? What kind of apps can these phones power? Okay, if if you realize that they can power this kind of apps, then let me look for applications that can do this job for me when I am not there. That's a project. A project does not necessarily have to be something that involves, an organization and all of that. As a teacher in your classroom, that classroom is your organization. You are in charge. You call the shots alongside your learners, right? So that's about that for bridging the digital divide. This gives them,
Mm,
especially when you are teaching in or in an underserved area, it gives them the opportunity that ordinarily they won't even imagine that they would have access to, compared to those in private schools and the likes, or those who have you know better opportunities to use these digital tools. I like to tell myself that the only limitations are the ones you want to see. I can see that the image for this rubric is not so clear. uh, I would advise that you search for 21st century learning design ICT for learning rubric, just as seen on the screen, and you see so many images just like this. You would see the rubric from level 1 to level 5. Your goal is to always get to level 5 whenever you are trying to use technology in the classroom.
Thank you, Mrs. Bisayo. Before you continue with other things you might have for us, I just want to ask a few questions. Can I go on, ma?
Yeah, you can go on.
Okay, so the one first one I have here, how best do you think educators can empower themselves for professional growth and classroom innovation by leveraging on technology? It's a bit long, so I would repeat it. How best do you think educators can empower themselves for professional growth and classroom innovation by leveraging on technology? That's the question, ma. Did you get it, ma?
Yeah, I do. I got it. And that is like the next point I was going to explain.
Okay, that's very fine then.
Yeah. All right. So the next role of a 21st century educator is, of course, to work on yourself. You can't rely on what teacher education has done for you. If we're to be honest with ourselves, you realize that teacher education, I'm talking about the university system, teacher education is way behind schedule. The last set of student teachers I supervised, I was shocked to my marrow to see the kind of lesson plans they were still writing, and how defensive they were when I showed them a better one, what I use. It was it was shocking to hear them say that that is how our lecturer taught us. And I I was I don't know, maybe I had to my expectations were really high, because of the kind of university that they were coming from, and the fact that I also attended that university, and that is the same way the lecturers taught us to design lesson plans and the like. And this is it's like that's 8 years ago, and we're still doing the same thing, but we don't have the same kind of learners, we don't have the same kind of realities, right? And we are having teachers that are still being trained like this, teachers that are not wired to explore, teachers that we are producing teachers that have been trained in such a structured and fixed pattern, to come and teach learners, future leaders, that cannot be confined to a particular structure. You can't The learners of today, you can't box them. If you box them, they would tear the entire box open. You will be lost, right? But they're still training teachers like that. Imagine a student teacher still referencing, that's how my lecturer taught me, sounding like a secondary school student. That's how my teacher taught us. That's how, you know, it was really disappointing. But after the experience, with my supervision, and of course seeing other teachers in the class, the way they came is different from how they left, right? So first is to develop a high level mindset. You need to see yourself beyond just creating lesson plans and coming to deliver the lessons in the classroom. You have to see every 18 minutes. I think English is usually given double period, right? So you have to see that 80 minutes as your 80 minutes of transformation, your 80 minutes of restructuring, your 80 minutes of rebranding those learners that you are seeing in your class. You need to see them from a high level mindset, not the regular, secondary school teacher kind of mindset. Then you need to find a community of practice, because it's not easy to be a lone wolf trying to find growth opportunities on your own, just like you have everything literature. Find a community of practice and engage, ask questions, find projects that are being carried out by fellow teachers in that community, and offer, volunteer to work with that. I remember after when staggered attendance started, after the lockdown was lifted, I remember collaborating with a teacher. I can't measure the distance now, but it was a long distance away from my school. Our school was a long distance away from my school. But I remember collaborating with her, doing we did what I call, or what is generally called, collaborative teaching. We exchanged classrooms. We took permission from our principals and we exchanged classrooms. And we were not even teaching the same subject. We're not even teaching I was teaching English, I was teaching economics. So we found a topic in the scheme of work that uh, I realized we can swap places, and then share our experiences with these learners, and then teach. And apart from teaching together, we were also evaluating each other. We gave each other feedback. Okay, this is what you need to improve on. These are the things you can't do this kind of things and remain the same. You can't engage in this kind of activities and remain the same. So instead of seeing the next teacher as your next competitor that you want to look better than, think of how you can work with that teacher. What is this teacher doing that I would like to learn? Okay, what do I know that this teacher does not know? How can we work together? Now, apart from that, you also need to look for EdTech trainings. Don't wait for the ones that your employer will bring to you, and then you start complaining that, oh, I wasn't picked, I wasn't selected. Go out and find these trainings. There are so many out there, and they're usually free. For instance, the Microsoft Innovative Educator program, it's free, right? I think that's the one that was offered by Lagos State anyway. But there are so many others that are completely free if you just search and keep searching. If you not allow mediocrity to take away your curiosity, if you'd always challenge yourself and say, okay, what is new that I need to learn? What are the things what are the latest trends that are suitable for my classroom, for my kind of learners, for my subjects that I need to learn? I learned about quizzes during the pandemic, when I realized that my learners were beginning to find this taking picture of notes and submitting, when they want to submit their assignment, they will take the picture and send on WhatsApp. Oh my God. I realized that it was a lot, so many files, so many things to download. It was just all over the place. But quizzes and Kahoot just solves all of that. I can see what they are doing in real time, and I could even, I could send their report directly to their parents, download the PDF report and send directly to their parents. So, what are the challenges you are facing right now that you think technology can solve? Look for the kind of applications or the kind of tech tools that can solve it, and practice. Even if you don't find training for these technologies, practice. Just keep practicing. Don't be afraid to fail, at practice. I remember the first time I started giving I decided that, there will be no more handwritten assignments if it does not have to do with essays. Sometimes they still have to write. I need to look at the handwriting. But if it doesn't have to do, if it's grammar or any other topic, it will always be on quizzes, and I will only share codes. When I started, even though I had not been using it, I wanted to see how it works when I involve the entire school. As an English teacher, sometimes you might be the one teaching the whole school. It was a mess the first term. Oh my God. There were so many negative feedback because I didn't know how to use it very well. Looked for how to solve all of those things that caused the negative feedback. Went back to the class, gave them the code again until it became part of them, to the point that when I even forget to create the quizzes assignment, they are the ones that will come to me and say, Mrs. Shemi, you've not given us the code for this class, right? So practice. Don't wait until perfection, of which I'm not sure you can even get to perfection, because there will always be room for improvement. And then start with what you have. Start where you are. If you have only your mobile phone, it is enough. Start with that. I remember when I had only my mobile phone, and yeah, still back to pandemic era again, at the end SARS period. And we I was going to design a lesson for the vocabulary of journalism, and I had just my phone. The school didn't even have electricity to even power a projector. Even if I was going to, you know, uh, decide to spend my money to rent a projector or something, I didn't even have a laptop. There was just my phone, and I thought to myself, what can we do other than just having spelling drills, those regular activities that can get so boring when you are teaching vocabulary. So I decided to contact one of the journalists that covered the NSAS protest, and I got him on a live call in the class. It was supposed to be an Instagram live class, but network, you know, as usual, wasn't good. So we switched to a phone call in the class. I've never had such an attentive and organized class like that before. It's still the best class ever that I've ever organized. Were so quiet. They all had questions. Some of them were even jotting down some things as the man was talking to them. And the journalist himself was, maybe he was a teacher in his former life, because he was so engaging. He knew, I already told him the topic, and I told him what I was trying to achieve. So as he was sharing his experience about filming the NSAS protest and all, he was also explaining any buzzword, any big word that he talks about. He would explain it, he would define it, and it sank deep into my learners. I'm sure, if even though I'm no longer in the classroom now, if any of my learners, if I was to ask them which of my lessons do you remember, or do you have you say you enjoyed the most, they would most likely mention that. And that's technology in the classroom, right? Even though it was not at a level 5, that's where that's where I was at that time, and that's where I started from. After a while, I started doing TikTok for grammar lessons. I realized that TikTok could allow you do this post where you'd you'd learn pronunciation and the I think tenses alongside a native speaker, So what I'll do is I'll come to the class, pick learners, representatives from groups, and then have them do that post with a native speaker. So they would pronounce after the native speaker, or they will answer any question that the native speaker is asking. Little things like that. And I just picked up from there. Okay, the third and final part is redefining traditional teaching methods. Um, as a 21st century educator, you need to understand that you are also a researcher, right? You are not just a subject matter expert. You're also an educational researcher. So you should find out what are the models, what are the theories out there that people have gone ahead of me to develop, to make my work easy when it comes to redefining traditional teaching methods. There are so many technology integration models out there that, and I've mentioned two of them here, as the SAMR and the TIP. SAMR takes you from substituting a traditional activity with a digital activity, all the way to redefining, right? And if your role is to redefine traditional teaching methods, just find technology integration models, study them, practice them, plan how you can apply these models in your classroom, right? At different levels. You don't need to get overwhelmed or bombard yourself with all the technology tools that you know that people are using. Pick the one that works for a particular topic, then pick a model. For instance, if you are going to pick this SAMR model, for instance, if we start with substitution, this just means that instead of maybe before you bring a cardboard to the class that is showing the different types of essays, I don't know why teachers spend a lot of money and make students spend a lot of money on doing these flex banners in 2024. Instead of doing a flex banner, you can just design something interactive on a slide and then play it in class, right? I remember when I was teaching this topic that had to do with emotions. Yeah, it had to do with emotions. The use of may, can, ought, and the likes. I used emojis as my instructional material. I didn't need to print them on a banner. I didn't need to draw them on a cardboard. I just had them on my phone, and then I showed each of the emojis that that are best suited to the use of these words. So just by showing them the emoji, they could tell the word that best fits that word from my phone, right? Even when I needed them to see something on the on the wall or on the board or something like that, I still used my phone. Then I connected my phone to a Bluetooth speaker and then had them listen to different ways that native speakers use these words, and left the rest for them to, imagine and realize, instead of spoon feeding them with everything I want to teach them already printed on a flex banner. Another level of redefining traditional teaching method is the augmentation level, where you are not just replacing a traditional method, you are also making sure that it is an improved replacement, not that it is now worse than the traditional method that you were using earlier. For instance, using, maybe you created a slide now as your instructional material instead of a cardboard or a banner, and you are now putting music on that slide that is distracting the learners, and they can't even concentrate on the main content of the slide. You have defeated the purpose of redefining that traditional method, because they will have been better off using your regular style in the first place. And so it goes on and on like that. All you just need to do is have the willingness to learn, to practice, and to keep trying, keep testing, because you are a researcher. Test this style today. In fact, you can even come up with your own model after using different models that have already been researched earlier. You can come up with your own model and share it with everybody. Hey, I use this is how I use technology in my classroom. These are the different levels. Give it a try and let me know your feedback. You can come up with your own model too. It could be specifically for teaching English, teaching English in the classroom with technology, or just any subject at all. You don't always have to, wait for something. Then you can also collaborate with parents, right? You cannot be trying to redefine traditional teaching methods in the classroom, and then when you get home, the parents that are assisting your learners, the parents that are, working with your learners, maybe to do an assignment or to reinforce what they've learned in school, you cannot have them taking the student back to what you are trying to redefine. So you have to collaborate with them. Let them know. When I started using quizzes in class, I took the pain of getting the WhatsApp numbers of all my parents and sending them a video of how quizzes works, so that even when I don't give an assignment, the parents themselves can create an account and engage their children, right, using that same application. So you have to also collaborate with parents. I think, yeah, that's these two should do. So just a recap of what I've been saying since I started this conversation. First, the role of 21st century educator, looking at it from three aspects: bridging the digital divide, which involves using the 21st century learning design rubric for ICT, and then designing and implementing digital learning projects, no matter how small. Then taking charge of your professional growth, and by developing a high level mindset, finding a community of practice, in immersing yourself in trainings, practice, 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 test, practice, and then starting with what you have and where you are. Then the final one, using technology integration models and collaborating with parents. The more you do this, the more you find yourself going closer to even coming up with your own model that can be used in different situations apart from your classroom or your subjects. Yeah, that's all. on my end.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Adewale. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. It was an insightful session. Personally, for me, I think one thing that I've learned and I still keep saying is it doesn't matter what you do. Like it doesn't even matter. No matter what you do, whether you're a teacher or you're an educator, if you don't find a way to integrate technology, you'll be way behind in this technology controlled world. So, and even matters more when you're an educator and you have to find a way to integrate technology. And like you said, we should start from where we are, make use of the resources we have, just make an effort to at least integrate technology. Thank you so much for the session. Before I give room, I'm going to give room for one person to ask their question, just one person, because our time is far spent. I realized I didn't introduce myself at the beginning of the discussion. So I'm Precious Olawole, and I host the weekly theme-based discussions here on everything literature. So if you have any question, just one person, the first person to raise their hand in the next 1-2 minutes. Is there anybody that has a question before we move on? You can just use the raise a hand feature, please. Okay, so I don't think we have any questions. It seems everybody understood today's session and everybody gained something. So if you still have a question, maybe it's too long and we can't take it now. Oh, Mrs. Adedoyin is raising her hand. Okay. Lizma, can you briefly ask your question? Briefly, ma. Thank you. Mrs. Adedoyin, you can go ahead, ma.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to ask, if you have a very large class, like a class of 100, and then you discover that just 10 of your students are accessible to phone, how will you be able to manage the other 90 students whose parents don't have phones and they don't have access to phone? So that's just my question. How do we manage a very large class that don't have everyone in the class does not have a phone or internet facility?
Mrs. Bisayo, ma.
All right. Thank you very much for that question because I can relate so well. In my class, I had I think about sometimes 100, sometimes 70 something. So I had a similar challenge. These are the things I did. First, I worked with other teachers. I don't know if you have other teachers like that, that are fellow EdTech enthusiasts. So what we usually do is when these learners who don't have access, we put them in groups. So the assignment for that week, right, or the let me use quizzes now, for instance. The quizzes assignment for that week that has been assigned to my class, the learners that don't have access to phones at home or internet facilities, I have their list. I put them in groups. You also have to be careful to not, to be able to sort the serious ones from the ones that, they just want to do it for the fun of it, right? They need to know that this is serious business. You are not just bringing technology to the classroom so that they can have fun with their phones or something. They are learning. So that you don't have learners that you would give your phone and they will not treat it carefully, right? When they watch other learners, enjoying and taking it serious, then they start getting serious and then you can bring them in. That's what I did. So I group put them in groups. So in groups they started doing this assignment. For instance, quizzes allows one person per engagement, but because of the situation, of not having enough tools and all of that, one phone, sometimes I can have 5 learners, 6 learners on one phone learning at the same time. So they will put in all their names. When I go to the back end and I see a submission that has maybe 5 different names together, I know that these are all the people that sat together to do this assignment. My office was in the library, so there was enough space for them. They would come to the library, they would sit down with the phone under my supervision, they would learn together. They would choose their answers together, not just one person answering. So you see what that problem has resulted to. They are not just using a tech tool, they are also learning together. They are also collaborating to answer every question. I would watch them argue. No, I think it should be A. No, 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 it is C. They will open their note and say, see, this is why I think it is C. And that was how I was able to cover as many students as possible. The reality is that you would not be able to um you know take care of all of them, but at least you would try as much as possible to cover as many people as you can cover. So that's one. I collaborated with fellow EdTech enthusiasts like me that are teachers in my school. That's number one. Number two, the school had there was a time that the libraries were renovated, and they had it had computers, I think about 5 or so. So I also used that, although I had to use my hotspot. So I would turn on my hotspot for them and give them time slots throughout the day when I know I will be in the library. Okay, this is the time that this set of people should come and do their quizzes assignments. And so at first it will look a little bit rowdy, but when you keep doing it, it becomes a structure, it becomes a system that even the learners already know. So it's made them not to even have time to do all these public school kind of play they do during break, or when they don't have any teacher in their class. The moment they are free, one at least 2 or 3 out of them will have a time slot on the computer in the library, or with the teacher's phone or my phone, that they need to do a quizzes assignment or a Kahoot assignment or any other assignment using that app. So that's another way. I don't know if these are the kind, I don't know how the realities that you have in your own space, Mrs. Adedoyin Ayole, or Miss, I don't know which one. But you just need to, that's why I said you need to develop a high level mindset. You need to develop a mindset that will always tell you that the only limitations are the ones you want to see. If you don't see the limitations, they are not there. So as many people, if I tell myself that these learners don't have phones, these learners don't have internet facility, I can't, let me not bother myself, then I wouldn't have even made the attempt at all in the first place. But at the end of the day, I started having 200 students, over 100 students. The least I will have 50 students doing their assignment on quizzes, right? And I remember that, yeah, you mentioned one of the awards I got. That's the Edufocal. That was a 250,000 naira award, and I got that. The organizer told me that one of the things that touched her was the fact that there I was facing serious digital infrastructure limitations, but I was still able to achieve something, right? So the only limitations are the ones you want to see. Look at what is available. What are the things that I can do? What are the what was my best, the best thing I can do to get the best results, instead of just ruling out everything. In fact, some learners that even had phones and internet access, they will tell you that they don't have money to buy data. They will tell you that their parents don't have money to buy data, but their parents have money for asoebi, their parents have money to give them to buy block zobo early in the morning. So I went as far as teaching them how to subscribe with 200 naira just to do assignments for different network. They went home to tell their parents, mommy, my teacher said you can, with 200 naira you can get this one for one day, please let me use it to do my assignment. So yeah, I just hope that I've been able to suggest some ideas.
Mrs. Adedoyin, was your question answered, ma? Okay, I believe the
Yes,
question.
yes, 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 yes. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you very much, ma. So, quote of the day or quote for the day: the only limitations are the ones you want to see. Mrs. Ade Wole gave us that quote. I just want to briefly walk us through our weekly schedule here at Everything Literature. So the weekly theme-based discussion, like we had this evening, is a podcast session organized by Everything Literature, and we have weekly schedule curated for our overall growth and development as educators. On Mondays, we have Plan, Ask, and Share (PAS). So we share the challenges we face during the day, get practical tips and solutions to help us through the week. We've not really been having the Plan, Ask, and Share as we should have because schools have resumed, but then we're trying. On Tuesdays, we have trivia and teaching tips with Noah. On Wednesday, like today, we have our theme-based discussions and the question and answer session afterwards. On Thursdays, we have our peer review and feedback. On Fridays, there's the virtual reading club. On Saturdays, we have virtual chats tagged if I were to be the minister for. So here you can share with us what plans you would implement if you were a minister in any sector of the economy. So that's it with our for our weekly schedule. You can visit our YouTube channel to catch up on previous episodes of the theme-based discussions like we had today, and you can also check out today's episode when it is posted on YouTube. So thanks to everyone that's joined in today's discussion. There's more to come. So far, we've covered about I think four. We have four TBD sessions. Today's one makes it five. So I would want us to keep attending, keep joining in, so we don't miss out on all the value that we are getting here. So thanks to everyone that joined once again. Thank you for your